Welcome to this explainer. Imagine, just for a second, the sheer hum of servers processing literally millions of data points every single second. We're looking at the 2026 World Cup today. With 48 teams and 104 matches spread across the US, Canada, and Mexico, this tournament isn't just the biggest sporting event in history, it is the ultimate stress test for artificial intelligence. We're about to look at how the world's most advanced AI models attempt to simulate an entire global tournament, from the very first whistle all the way to the final trophy lift. Which brings us to the central question driving our whole explainer today. Can machines predict the unpredictable? Look, it's one thing for an algorithm to calculate a loan default rate, right? Or optimize a supply chain. But here, we're talking about human emotion. We are talking about pure, unadulterated athletic variance. How exactly does an intelligent system process the crushing pressure of a penalty shootout, the total chaos of a last-minute injury, or the collective willpower of a massive underdog? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out. Okay, let's dive into this. Just consider the sheer mind-boggling scale of this event. 3 host nations, 48 teams, 104 matches. The amount of information generated by this setup creates practically infinite variables. Let's be real, trying to map out every single permutation is mathematically impossible for the human brain to fully compute. But for an AI, this massive web of data isn't overwhelming at all, it's a playground. So to map out the future of this massive tournament, we have to look at how completely different AI models approach the exact same raw data.
Part 1. Feeding the machine. How AI models actually think.
To truly understand how these electronic minds work, we aren't just relying on one single algorithm. We're actively pitting 3 different analytical models against each other: the Claude AI reasoning model, the sports data giant Okta, and the investment research firm BCA Research. Now, they don't just look at who has the best players, they analyze the last 5 World Cups. But here is where the models start to diverge. Claude focuses really heavily on ELO ratings, which is basically the quantitative backbone measuring the strength gap between sides, alongside live injury data. Meanwhile, BCA Research leans hard into Monte Carlo simulations. They generate thousands of random scenarios weighing structural variables, like the physical speed of attacking lines and the distinct mathematical advantage of being a host nation. And this creates some immediate tension. Opta's supercomputer probabilities give Spain the edge at 17%, but France only a 14% chance to win the whole thing. Now, keep that 14% in your back pocket, because as you'll see shortly, another one of our AI models, BCA Research, absolutely guarantees that France will be the undisputed champion. It's just a perfect example of how different algorithms interpret the exact same historical data in completely different ways.
Part 2. Simulating the outsider. The Cinderella run. So, one of the absolutely hardest things for an AI to compute is a Cinderella run. How do you simulate a team completely defying the odds? Let's look at Morocco. 28.56%. There is something incredibly striking about the cold, hard exactness of that number. Opta's supercomputer gives Morocco exactly a 28.56% chance to advance out of the group stage. Why so specific? Because the machine has calculated the immense difficulty of Group C, where Morocco has to face the absolute powerhouse of Brazil alongside Scotland and Haiti. The AI sees a very narrow path, sure, but it does see a path.
And Claude's simulation practically breathes life into this raw data. In its mind, Morocco gets out of the group and comfortably beats South Korea 2-0. Next, the AI predicts Morocco actually stuns the Netherlands in a brutal 4-3 penalty shootout. And that's a calculated outcome based on the Dutch team's historical big tournament fragility combined with Morocco's proven defensive grit. Finally, the machine simulates their dream run ending in a super tight 2-1 quarterfinal loss to France. So how exactly did the machine decide France beats Morocco 2-1? Well, it evaluated a systemic tactical clash. The algorithm is measuring Morocco's systemic defensive cohesion, their compact lines, their rigid discipline, against France's raw individual attacking speed and high possession metrics. Ultimately, the machine concludes that while a fiercely disciplined system can force a tight game, raw attacking power combined with incredible depth eventually breaks the algorithm's defensive threshold over the course of 90 minutes. Part 3. Simulating the knockouts. When heavyweights clash. As we push deeper into the tournament, those margins for error just completely disappear. And this is exactly where our AI models are pushed to their absolute processing limits. Take this highly specific simulation from Claude for the semifinal. Spain beats France 2-1. The AI predicts that France's Kylian Mbappé gets on the score sheet, for sure, but ultimately calculates that Spain's Lamine Yamal is the real difference maker.
What the AI is actually doing here is weighing France's overwhelming individual talent against Spain's systemic dominance. The algorithm essentially decides that over the course of a high-pressure match, Spain's interconnected system has a slightly higher probability of success than relying on isolated moments of individual brilliance from France.
Part 4. The Conflicting Champions. Divergent AI Outputs. All right, we have reached the climax of our explainer. We fed the exact same tournament and historical data into our different AI models, and they produced wildly divergent realities. On one side, Claude's final sees Spain facing Argentina. Claude predicts Spain wins 2-1, explicitly calculating that Spain's depth and Yamal's brilliance will be enough to stop Lionel Messi from getting his fairy tale ending. But then, on the flip side, BCA Research's Monte Carlo simulations generated a totally different outcome. Their thousands of statistical iterations project a final between France and Portugal, with France ultimately taking the crown, giving them a 52.5% probability in their semifinal just to get there. It's wild. Two insanely advanced models, two completely different visions of the future. And this logic naturally trickles right down to individual performances. Claude's simulation logically assigns the tournament's top awards based on its projected deep runs. Because Claude sees France making a deep run, it predicts Kylian Mbappe taking the golden boot as he just keeps getting the ball at his feet. And because it predicts Spain winning the whole shebang, the golden ball goes to Yamal and the golden glove to Unai Simon for keeping the most clean sheets. It's just a perfectly closed loop of statistical logic. Part 5. Beyond the Beautiful Game. Real-World AI. Taking a step back for a second, why does an AI simulation of a soccer tournament actually matter to us? Well, because these exact data models are currently used in our broader reality to assess risk, predict market fluctuations, and guide massive business decisions every single day. But we absolutely must remember the limitation of the AI mind, perfectly captured here by BCA Research. Predictions remain sensitive to the variance of match events, notably injuries, expulsions, or refereeing decisions. It is a really profound admission, because no matter how many thousands of Monte Carlo iterations are run, no matter how perfect the ELO ratings are, the machine simply cannot account for the unpredictable chaos of human variance. A sudden injury, a terrible referee call, a moment of red card madness, the machine literally cannot predict human chaos. Which leaves us with this final thought for today's explainer. If even the most advanced supercomputers in the world cannot truly account for human chaos on a football pitch, how much faith should we put in data to navigate our own unpredictable futures? It's a beautiful, messy reality that no algorithm can ever entirely conquer.